Our 40th anniversary today. So congratulations to everyone. I now, on behalf of all present, would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which we are meeting tonight, and pay my respects to elders past, present and future. Now, just before the meeting starts, if I could just please remind everyone to turn off your mobile phones or paging devices or any other electronic equipment that you might disrupt the meeting with. And I'd also like to draw to everyone's attention that in the case of an emergency, this is our closest emergency exit. The bathrooms are just across the hall there, obviously the doorway over there, and we're not expecting any emergencies, but you never know, you never know. Now, the mission of a Toastmasters Club is to provide a mutually supportive and positive learning environment in which every individual member has the opportunity to develop communication and leadership skills, which in turn foster self-confidence and personal growth. And I'd like to think that over the past 40 years, that's something that Nowra Toastmasters has offered to a multitude of people, including all of us present this evening. So I would now like to hand control of the meeting. It's a new Toastmasters year, and it's my great honour to welcome our new president for the 2020-21 year, Linda Snell.
Thank you very much, Sergeant at Arms Megan. Did you all pick yourselves up one of these? Has everybody got an agenda? Fantastic, there's some extras on the table here if you haven't. Wow, 40 years since Nowra Toastmasters chartered. That is amazing. There are lots and lots of clubs who only ever manage a few years, or maybe a few more than a few years. 40 years is 4 decades. That's incredible. Toastmasters has been around in our area here from Wollongong. Wollongong being the first Toastmasters club in Australia to open up. 60 years, last year was it, Louise, 60 years? Year before, 62 years. So we've done 40. That's great, isn't it? Well done, Nowra Toastmasters. It is my real pleasure this evening to welcome a few people here because it is such a special occasion. Obviously, we welcome everybody, but first and foremost, I would like if we could welcome first Louise Burns, Distinguished Toastmaster. She is our Southern Division Director. She's the big cheese, guys and gals. Please welcome Louise Burns. We also have here this evening our very own Kylie Rayner, ACB, ALS and MS3, our Area 30 Director. She's our big area chief, big cheese in the area. Welcome, Kylie. Two very special guests. Our past member of many years, Wolfgang Schurer and Holly Schurer. Welcome both of you. Fantastic having our past members. Really cold, so I appreciate you both coming out tonight. Thank you. And of course, members, welcome all our members. We're going to have a cracker meeting, we're going to get a bit of history. It's a special meeting, so please enjoy the whole set of events tonight. We are hoping that our Lord Mayor Amanda Findlay will be along shortly. We were expecting her here. We will just roll with it, because as you can see, my next job is to actually welcome the Mayor to come up and give us a message to the club. So we will put that back to another point in the agenda. Meanwhile, which means Megan, it looks like you're up again. We're going to have some table topics fun. So I hope you're all ready to get up here for a bit of a table topic. Welcome back, Megan. Thank you, Linda.
Masters, please welcome John.
What first brought me to Toastmasters was a thought that I'd like to learn to be able to speak in public in front of people. That was something like 40 years ago. The idea after that faded, life got in the road, and it's not not until now that I've been able to pick it up again. What it means to me, and it's amazing how fast it actually starts to take effect. My family have always described me as talking softly and quietly and a bit hard to understand, etc. And now, it's just in the space of 3 or 4 meetings, that's all totally changed. And now I can just speak normally at quite a reasonable volume and feel comfortable about it. So, and I'm looking forward to the future. There's a long way to go, but it's good fun along the way.
John's one of our newest members and going from strength to strength. My next question is, how different was Toastmasters when you first joined many years ago to how it is now? Please welcome Wolfgang.
Ladies and gentlemen, fellow Toastmasters. When I joined Toastmasters, we used to meet in the club where we've been for many years there in Bomaderry there on the corner. Now, the club atmosphere was actually very much conducted by 2 ladies. They were a mother and a daughter. Now, I forget momentarily their name. Isabel and Jan. They seem to be the leading people, and you had to virtually dance according to their flute. But we did it because ultimately we got rid of the shackles and developed our own prowess and said, hey, hang you, I can do what I want. I'm here to learn the way I want it, because I tell you something here. One day, I gave a very, very nice speech, and not trying to put myself on the pedestal. However, it was a very nice speech. And when the whole thing was finished, this very lady, the younger one, Jan took me aside and said, Wolfgang, Toastmasters is not a university. And of course, I felt very deflated momentarily, but when you have something to say and want to address an audience with something that is worthwhile, you may as well do so. We don't always, never, in fact, in my opinion, swim on the lower level. That's why we're here. We want to go up, and I wish for everybody like you to have the same ambition and enthusiasm to do that.
Enthusiastic members, Wolfgang. Lovely to see you back. That's wonderful. My next question is, what keeps you coming back to Toastmasters? Please welcome Di.
Thank you, Megan. What does keep me coming back to Toastmasters? This is an excellent question, to be honest, because I have had my moments where I've thought, what am I doing? Why am I going? I'm not progressing. And there's just something about Toastmasters that keeps me coming back. And you know what it is? It's the people. Over the years, I've met some of the loveliest people, and it's just nice to come out every other Wednesday night and see all the smiling faces, to have just a little chat here and there with different people, and just enjoy the company of people. But it's not just that. It's the speeches. It's the funny little table topics we sometimes have. I do love to listen to interesting and clever people speak, and that is why I go to different events like author talks and writers' festivals, and that's why I listen to podcasts and watch interesting shows on television that have interesting people and clever people speaking, and that's why I come to Toastmasters, because the speeches that I've heard over the years have been hilarious, entertaining. There's people who have their really funny stories, there's people who have had such interesting lives and relay that to us, and there's people who are downright inspirational. in the things that they have been through and overcome, and they continue to inspire me, and that is why I keep coming back to Toastmasters.
Thank you, Di. Actually, one of the Toastmasters I used to know in my previous club, for him going to Toastmasters was like visiting an art gallery. And for him, meeting all the different people was just like absorbing different works of art. So a very similar thing. So thank you for that answer, Di. My next question is, how has Toastmasters helped you outside of Toastmasters meetings? Please welcome Rebecca. Thanks, Rebecca.
Thank you, Megan. How has Toastmasters helped me outside of Toastmasters? Well, where do I start? Firstly, I'd like to say with work. So for my work, I speak to a lot of people day in, day out. Usually it's one-on-one. In the past, I have done group sessions and spoken to larger groups of people. And I've found that since I've been coming to Toastmasters, the skills and tips that I've learned from all the different members have really helped me with my presentation skills, especially at team meetings and in face-to-face meetings where we have to do presentations using PowerPoint or just getting up in larger groups. It's just made me feel a lot more comfortable and more relaxed with the audience. So it's really been beneficial in terms of work situation. Another benefit of Toastmasters outside of work would be just general speeches, I guess. Last year I went to my sister's wedding and I gave a speech being the maid of honour, and that really helped because I'd learnt different skills and different ways of doing a toast and what sort of like the formal process. So that really was great to get up and be able to do that toast and speech at my sister's wedding. So I'm very thankful for Toastmasters to be able to learn things like that.
Yeah, I must say for me, people often ask what brings you back to Toastmasters, and for me, the ability to be able to give the eulogy for my mum's funeral, that was a gift that is really precious. I've been to funerals previously and found it very difficult to speak from the heart. And it was a wonderful gift that Toastmasters has given me to be able to pay tribute to my mum at that really tough time. What unexpected benefit has Toastmasters given to you? What unexpected benefit? Kevin.
Thank you, Megan. What unexpected benefits have I received from being Toastmasters? Well, there are several benefits. The first one is that I'm able to communicate with outsiders, outside Toastmasters. I enjoy talking to people in different groups and helping them, encourage them along the way, whatever their problem might be. And there's one other thing that the benefit I have from being a Toastmasters is I'm able to go out with other groups and talk to them freely, which I couldn't do before. I'm able to go out and meet with other people and enjoy their company better than I did before. So that's it. Thank you.
Good one. It's interesting actually for Toastmasters, for a lot of people, particularly more introverted people or shy people, it's just confidence. Just building a bit of confidence and knowing that you're amongst friends and in a supportive environment where you can just be yourself. So thank you for sharing that, Kevin. What is the most inspirational speech you have heard and why? Please welcome Kim.
Thank you, Megan. That's a great question, actually. My most inspirational speech, and I guess in a Toastmaster club.
Oh,
Yeah.
speech.
Yeah. I think it was the venue that was in Miami at the convention. I actually got to go to the international speech contest, and it was just the atmosphere of the contest. But not only that, it was actually the struggle and the achievement of seeing the speakers up there in the contest, knowing what they've been through in learning their speeches, in practicing, in winning their club contests, winning the next level, winning their international level, and then actually achieving the ability to go into an international contest. So that was the most inspirational speech. I don't remember the speech actually, I don't remember what they spoke about. It was just the sense of achievement and pushing through fears, and I think that's what Toastmasters really means for me, is pushing through the fear of public speaking and knowing that you're, as you say, amongst friends where you can learn a new habit, you can have small safe experiences, and you can be yourself as well as find your voice. So yeah, thanks Megan.
It's a wonderful point Kim makes actually, when we get the opportunity to go to different clubs and to network with others, but to see quite different speakers who have got quite different experiences from us. And yeah, just the way that they express themselves, it really can be quite inspirational. What is the most entertaining meeting you've attended and why? Linda.
Most entertaining and most memorable for me was in fact my very first Toastmaster meeting at Parramatta. When I went to this meeting, I'd run up first and I'd spoken to somebody and said I'd like to come along and have a look. I was really shy and incredibly scared, shaking in my boots quite literally. They were so welcoming. But what made it so different was they were having a Bollywood night. So they were all dressed up, I kid you not, in beautiful saris and turbans and just looking gorgeous. And in fact, as I entered the club, they had little sticky things in, would you like one of these? And so I had a little sticky thing on my, that they do, it's a religious symbol of some sort. It was a fabulous meeting. And in fact, you know, you wouldn't expect it, would you? But at this meeting, one of the ladies, who is from Indian background, showed us Indian dance and what it all meant and how that was expressed. Gave a dance speech, if you will, and we were in kind of a U-shaped room, so she was in the middle. It was just fabulous, something I'd never seen, never experienced. Wow, what a meeting. So you can see why I'm still here. Just amazing experiences, memorable, and the meeting was, it blew my mind, frankly, it really did. Why would I not come back?
Thank you, Linda. I suppose underlying the message from everyone really is the fact that it's fun.
Yes.
That's what keeps us coming back, really. Do you wish you'd joined Toastmasters sooner and why? I was going to say Kylie, but she's giving me the look like she can't leave the filming alone, so I'm thinking Louise. Louise, do you wish you'd joined Toastmasters sooner and why?
Excuse me.
Another round of applause, boys. Come on.
Thank you for that question, Madam Toastmaster. I've actually been a member for about 17 years. I think that's soon enough. Honestly. I must say, I did have a little bit of a hiatus. I had a little break. And then I went back. And so maybe I wish I hadn't had that break. Because, you know, you lose your skills, you de-skill. I joined in about 2002 actually. So I'm 2 years off. You're, 22 years off your 40-year anniversary. No, I'm glad I joined when I did. It filled a gap, it filled a need. It's taught me to speak much more confidently and to be confident with people. And the important thing that I find now is I go to people and say, go to Toastmasters, you want a better job, you're going to learn those interview skills by going to Toastmasters. Go to Toastmasters. You'll meet friends. You can talk, you can say whatever you like, and it's a safe area. You are evaluated, but you aren't judged. And that's the important thing. And I'm glad I joined when I did. I'm not sorry I left all the executive stuff till later. Well, I've actually got time now because I'm sort of semi-retired. So I'm happy I joined when I did. I didn't need to join any earlier, and thank you for that question, man. Toastmaster.
Thank you everyone for participating in that impromptu session. It was essentially us answering that question, my why. Why I come to Toastmasters.
Still 5 minutes.
Oh, but we've got the mayor's here. The mayor's here. I now like to say,
Welcome, Lord Amanda Finlay. It's lovely to have you here. Welcome to our meeting this evening. Now, we actually had you to do a little presentation, and it's absolutely completely up to you if you'd like to do that now. I'd love to introduce you, or if you'd rather wait and just settle in a little bit, then we can do our presentation from Kylie. What would you like to? Which way would you like to roll it? Are you ready to jump up?
Madam President, and
Come and say
considering
that.
that you've just gone through your impromptu speeches and I'm late, I think it would be rather fitting that I just got up on my feet and went for it. Thank you. I'll just pop that there so that I can refer back to some of those names. Well, good evening to all of you, and I do apologise deeply for being late. But in a way, I'm glad I was, because I got to sit through your impromptu speeches and get to feel the meeting before I get to speak to you this evening. So my quick start is that all of you know that I always acknowledge country because we are on Aboriginal land, and I pay my respects to the elders of the past, the present, and those who are emerging, and to welcome any Aboriginal people who are here amongst us today. Now, I also got the pleasure of being told what to talk about. Now, that's pretty good. And when I was told what to talk about, it was, tell us why you think, Amanda, that clubs like Toastmasters are really important, and why are they living these long lives of 40 years. So now I'm going to be, there was an impromptu speech there that talked about amusing and funny. Well, I'm going to try and be amusing and funny. So I'm going to tell you a fib. 40 years ago, I wasn't born. Yeah? And 40 years ago, I couldn't have imagined that I would be here today, but that's the truth. And why I wouldn't have imagined that I would be here today was because I was a migrant from another country who didn't know that clubs like Toastmasters International existed. So in reaching your 40 years, I wonder what Mr. Max Cochrane would be thinking today. And knowing that the Cochrane family are still a family that are here in the Shoalhaven, they'll probably never leave because they've been here for generations and generations. But I am sure that their connection to Toastmasters through to today is still a big part of what sits deep in their heart. Because in my observations of Toastmasters, what you make of this club are fantastic connections with one another. You meet friends that you may not make friends with in any other way, shape or form. You come together because you enjoy the art of speaking, and you toast each week to your masterfulness of the language. So the Toastmasters name is indeed an apt name. And so to those who were part of International Toastmasters all of those years ago that gave birth in a way to this club and many other clubs, weren't they wise men and women of the time who recognised that the voice is powerful, that our words are powerful, and if we use our words powerfully, then we can make a difference in our lives and in the lives of other people. So I salute you. I say happy birthday to you, and I hope that whoever is on the form as the president in another decade when you reach 50, or in another decade when you reach 60, can look back at that lovely long list of names, feel proud to be associated with Nowra Toastmasters, to continue with the Distinguished Club's record, and to make powerful talk, the talk of our town. Thank you.
So, 40.
Yes.
Noah floated for 40 days in the flood. Moses spent 40 years in the desert. Jesus endured 40 days of temptation.
Yes.
There's something really significant about the number 40, isn't there? And each one of these stories is about struggle and achievement. And I thought so appropriate for tonight's celebration, our 40th anniversary of Nowra Toastmasters Club. And like these historic figures, Nowra Toastmasters has a very rich history also. Now, it's not my role to tell you about the history because we'll be hearing from some wonderful speakers tonight about our history. But it is wonderful to be able to reflect on the struggles and the achievements of this club. The things that we've done over the years to keep this club alive. The mentoring, the teaching, the education, the meeting with people after hours, the planning after hours, the hard work of getting people together and going through people's goals and helping people learn their speeches, helping you with the ums and the ahs, helping you with the ums and the ahs, helping you with managing your nerves and actually changing lives by all these wonderful things that we're doing in our club to keep it alive, and which has actually occurred across these 40 years. So I want to congratulate the club, and I want to leave you with a quote from Dr. Ralph C. Smedley,
Yes.
who is the founder of Toastmasters. He quotes Orison Marden in describing Toastmasters. The ability to talk well is to a man, and now women, because there are just men to start with in Toastmasters, what cutting and polishing are to the rough diamond. It merely reveals, the grinding does not add anything to the diamond, it just merely reveals its wealth. And we are continuing to reveal the wealth of our members now and also in the future. So on this 1st of July 2020, please raise your glasses to toast the Nowra Toastmasters 40th anniversary.
To Nowra Toastmasters 40th anniversary.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and most welcome guests. Nowra Toastmasters has had a long and illustrious history. It was formed in the 1980s by a group of dairy farmers who were looking to find their voice so that they could actually put their case to a changing environment dealing with the dairy industry. They first met on the 23rd of April 1980 at the Park Haven Convention Centre. I haven't been in Nowra long enough to even know where that is. And the first president was Max Cochran. He was a dairy farmer, so he was a good person to learn how to lead them. At the time, Nowra Toastmasters was only open to men, even though the international people had said that women were welcome since 1975. And they were made up of people from all walks of life. They were the dairy farmers, the businessmen, naval personnel, councillor alderman, plus there was a squire from Tomarong. Thank you. The charter meeting was held on the September 26, 1980, and their guest speaker was Ted McNess. And if you've been around Toastmasters for long enough, you know that District 70 has a Ted McNess, Full House Award for people who have achieved excellence throughout the year. And at the time, he was just learning his trade. And he'd come back from America, visiting clubs over there, and he wanted to give a report about what he'd seen and how they did things there. and they gave it to the lucky people at Nowra Toastmasters. Women started to join around 1985, and the first female president was in 18, sorry, I knew I'd get this wrong. It was 1989, and it was a Pan Bird. And ever since then, women have been welcomed to Toastmasters and have fulfilled many roles. At the time, when Nowra Toastmasters started, there were only 67 clubs in Australia, Wollongong being the first. And now there's clubs all over Australia, so it has just multiplied, and people can see the success that comes from it. One of the reasons that Nowra Toastmasters was set up was because people wanted to learn business procedures. And if you came to Toastmasters even as late, up to about 2005 or maybe a bit longer, can't remember when we actually started toning it down, you would have been able to go through a full business session in the first half of the meeting. So you'd be learning, through you, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to build a motion, please. And there'd be the ever increasing amendments. And then you get the amendments on the amendments. And you'd have to work out which part of the meeting are you meant to be voting on, and which part of the minutes, how to write it all into the minutes too. Can I say, thank goodness we're not going through that at the moment. Even though occasionally it does come in handy. Because if you join another organisation, you find that guess who puts up their hands to be the president or chair the meeting? A Toastmaster. And I forgot to mention, we also had commotion motions.
Yes.
One, I remember, was put by Gideon, or Wolfgang and Mukadisa's son-in-law. It was put that Nowra Toastmasters would state that the punt across the Shoalhaven River should be reinstated. You'd be glad to know, Amanda, that it wasn't passed. Another one was put up by yours truly, was that all swimming pools in Nowra should be turned into frog ponds.
Yes, I remember.
And again, you'd be all glad to know that it won't happen. I was talking to one of our previous members, Rob Larkins, and the reason why he chose to come to Nowra Toastmasters was because he did want to learn business procedures, because he was the president of the Shoalhaven Heads Council Chambers of Commerce at the time, and he needed to know how to keep everyone in line and what were the correct procedures. In the beginning, Nowra Toastmasters met on the 1st, the 3rd and the 5th Wednesday of every month. So they were able to get through a lot of meetings, a lot of speeches, and keep the momentum up. It started to change around about 2004, 2005, I think, when we cut it down to two meetings a month. Because we found that if you had the 5th Wednesday, then the 1st Wednesday, people got confused and they didn't turn up for either of those two meetings. So it was better to keep it nice and compact, and people were more likely to show up on both the first two meetings. I'd just like to give you some dates of highlights. The first meeting was on the 23rd of April 1980. The 150th was at Bombardier's RSL in June 1986. Our 400th meeting was in 1996. In 2013 we celebrated our 800th, and 3rd of August 2017 was our 900th meeting, and at the Ex-Servicemen's Club. And tonight is our 944th meeting. Other notable achievements is that Nowra Toastmasters have helped charter the Kiama Toastmasters, the Milton Ulladulla Toastmasters, Bateman's Bay Toastmasters, and Shoalhaven's Toastmasters. Unfortunately, the Milton Ulladulla and the Shoalhaven Toastmasters are no longer running. And we have had a number of area governors, but they're now called area directors. Our first one was Joseph Oker in 1995. Our second one was Diane Lawrence in 1997. I put my hand up for 2015, and this year we have Kylie starting her reign of being area director. The club has also participated in many community activities. We have put on speech crafts, youth leaderships. We have helped out at career days, as well as the YWCA development days for young ladies, just to give them people ideas on how to do speeches and what it is to actually perform in front of an audience. During this time, members have been able to achieve their goals with educational and leadership programs, no matter what it's called. Because when I started, my first clubs were in the early 90s. It was the Competent Toastmasters. And when I came back in 2004, they were changing it to Competent Communicator. And now we are doing pathways, and you get a level 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. This is a very brief history of Nowra Toastmasters. The members, the venues, and the number of meetings may change. But there's one thing, there are a number of things that don't change. It's the enthusiasm, the encouragement, the desire to learn, to excel, and to do your best, and to make the most of what you have. Whether it's giving feedback to your fellow members or presenting your best presentation as you can. I know that I'm looking forward to seeing what the next 40 years have to offer.
Yes.
Well, good evening. And for those of you who don't know me, my name is Mitch Purser, and like Linda said, I am, in contrast to Rosemary, one of the newer members of the club. So this evening, I would like to take this opportunity to share with you all why I joined Nowra Toastmasters, a little bit about how the club is functioning now, and what I see as the relevance for Toastmasters moving forward. So I joined the club a little over 18 months ago, and I joined for a number of reasons. The first and foremost reason that I joined was for a safe place to get exposure to public speaking. I had done a lot of public speaking throughout high school and a little bit in early university years. But I found that after having not done it for many years, that I was starting to get fearful and starting to doubt my skills. I was starting to avoid and miss out on opportunities to speak, to teach, and to lead. So I needed a safe place to re-explore that part of my skill set. And Toastmasters more generally is all about providing that supportive environment in which to grow and learn. So it was a great fit. Aside from keeping the nerves at bay and getting exposure to public speaking, I wanted to develop my communication skills. I'm acutely aware that it's one thing to have ideas and knowledge, but it's another thing to be able to communicate that to other people. I think of communication a little bit like tyres on a car. You can be revving away with brilliant ideas, but if you can't get traction on the hearts and minds of others, then you might as well save the petrol. And Toastmasters is first and foremost about improving communication skills, so that was very appealing. The other reason that I joined Toastmasters was to develop leadership skills. The ability to inspire collective action in other people is core to so many professional and personal goals. So leadership is often spoke about as some innate quality of a person, but we at Toastmasters know that like any skill, leadership is something that you can learn and that you need to develop. And again, Toastmasters offers a route to this. So for all of those reasons above, I decided to jump on the Toastmasters website and have a bit of a look. I read about the aims of a Toastmasters club. I had a bit of a look at a video that spelt out what would happen in a Toastmasters meeting and why all those roles existed. So, inspired by all of those reasons mentioned before and armed with that new knowledge, I came along to my first Nowra Toastmasters meeting. And boy am I glad that I chose this club. That first meeting that I joined ran exactly like the video, minus a few of the American accents. I was amazed by the quality of the speeches, but importantly, the lack of ums and ahs. I could see that process, the Toastmasters process, works. And before long, I was signed up on this new Pathways program and I wasn't able to politely decline a table topic. So throughout my early time in Nowra Toastmasters, I found the club to be an incredibly professional club that treats members and the Toastmasters brand with respect. Everyone in the club is genuinely supportive, and that creates a very rich learning environment. And I think one of the successes, one of the keys to the success and the longevity of the club is the respect for the Toastmasters brand. The education program and the meetings at this club run exactly as intended by Toastmasters International. So when we as Toastmasters come along to Nowra Toastmasters looking for a Toastmasters club and the benefits that it brings, that's what we get. That respect for the members and for the brand is something that has clearly been institutionalised within the club. And I suspect that it goes all the way back to the very foundation of the club. But regardless of how it's come to be, it's clearly delivering results. I am achieving my personal and professional goals through Toastmasters, and I'm very optimistic about where the process will enable me to go. Now I guess bringing it more to more contemporary times. Toastmasters and the skills that it aims to develop are perhaps more relevant now than they have ever been. We live in a world where the ability to accept and to give constructive criticism is sorely lacking, and Toastmasters aims to develop that. The communication mediums have changed, but Toastmasters has adapted. The new Pathways process includes assignments on creating podcasts, blogs, social media posts. The current trend is towards shorter and shorter bursts of communication, narrower attention spans, but at the same time, larger audiences, but they're more polarised. Now, perhaps more than ever, communication skills matter. To be able to be heard in this cluttered world that we live in, there's no space for any ums or ahs. There's no space for anything but the most purposeful use of language. And that's what Toastmasters aims to develop. The communication mediums, they've changed, but the process of Toastmasters hasn't, and it continues to work. The process says, come along to a group of supportive peers. Try it, get some feedback, and get better. That works time and time again. I'm passionate about the Toastmasters process and its relevance now and into the future. But the only reason that I'm able to access those benefits is because this club exists. this club, Nowra Toastmasters, gives me access to that. So on behalf of all new members, I would like to thank the members that have come before me for contributing to the club and handing it over to us today. And I'd like to thank the current exec for being current custodians of this club. And I look forward to the next 40 years of Nowra Toastmasters.
She has sent us a message. She couldn't be with us tonight, but she has sent us a message. So please welcome Kylie to read out the District Director's message. Thank you.
Congratulations, Nowra Toastmasters, on your 40th anniversary. Thank you, Nowra Toastmasters, for your kind invitation to me to attend your 40th anniversary meeting. 40 years is a remarkable accomplishment in any endeavour. Exactly 40 years ago, on the 1st of July 1980, this club was chartered. The Charter Committee members, who had great vision in forming the club, comprised as President Max Cochrane, EVP Pat Muller, Administrative VP Michael Eisen, Secretary Dennis Brunswick, Treasurer Mark Bice, Sergeant at Arms Bill Shepherd, and Publicity Officer Derek Roberts. The first meeting was attended by 50 men, with 32 of them from the Nowra area. I understand that due to the drought, fires, flooding, and more recently the COVID outbreak, you have been unable to gain new members with your current membership at 12. I urge you not to be despondent as the result, but to see it as a challenge and opportunity to demonstrate the resilience that the people of Nowra have. As Roy Bennett, author of The Light in the Heart, famously said, "Never lose hope. Storms make people stronger and never last forever." My late grandmother, born and raised in country Victoria, where our family is from, was fond of quotes, similar sayings. She used to say that things were often sent to test us, but it was also important to remain positive. Then our mission is accomplished. From the 1st of July, I'll be taking over as District Director of District 70. I look forward to attending more meetings of Nowra Toastmasters. I will be keen to hear your further progress in 2020-2021. Meanwhile, I wish each and every one of you good health and success in the coming year. Sincerely, Lorinda Logarage, DTM, District Director for 2020-2021, District 7.
Thank you, Kylie.
Oh, I'll just put it there.
Let's share the lesson.
I have actually 4 presentations to give, so I'm going to hold the limelight. Yes. And I lost my bit. I was going to give a speech, but I'm going to give it anyway. The first presentations are a couple of awards, but I'm going to tell you about that award first. What is a Triple Crown? It's that really fancy badge that Max got on his epaulet. It's got 3 little crowns on it, and it's called a Triple Crown. But you don't get it for being good looking like that, or being masterful like myself. You get it from hard work. What do you do to get a Triple Crown? You complete 3 projects. So now that we're talking about pathways, you complete level 1, level 2, and level 3 of your chosen path. Or, better still, you start 3 paths and complete level 1 of each path. What a great idea. You get a Triple Crown. Then you go home and you think, this isn't good enough. You then work on the next year's 3 chosen paths, be it level 2 of 3 programs, or 2, 3, and 4 of your chosen program. Then you get a second Triple Crown. But that's not good enough, because then you work through it another year. You get the ultimate, the gold Triple Crown. I'm here tonight to present not one, not two, but 3 Triple Crowns, and not to the same person. So the recipient of the first Triple Crown is the initiator of this quest for Triple Crowns for Nowra Toastmasters. And I would like you all to congratulate Mac McLeod for his gold Triple Crown. He's proudly wearing it. Do you want me to pin it on?
Yeah, pin it on.
Pin it on. It should be at the top. Oh, no, stop that. Here, you hold it. Keep that there. Don't move. So congratulate Matt on his Triple Crown. Now the next person who's worked hard and kept up this tradition of Triple Crowns is Rosemary Britton. There you go. And the last recipient of the Triple Crown, respect and distance, and following in their family's tradition is Linda McLeod. And the person who is on their path to their gold Triple Crown, we must mention Kylie because she got her Triple Crown a little bit earlier in the year. So Kylie. Now the other thing that I'm here to present, yes you can go, no, you can stay. As the President of Nowra Toastmasters, I would like to congratulate you and every member, past, present and future of Nowra Toastmasters. That includes Gideon, Wolfgang's little granddaughter that's going to be coming along when she turns 18. Because I'm sure he'll be showing me.
We all think so.
Yeah, there, definitely. See, you've got one. So I would like to present you from Toastmasters International your certificate for 40 years of Toastmasters. And it has been absolutely great hearing the history. Kylie, that was an absolutely fantastic presentation. I was really impressed. Even seen photos of myself. The first time I actually came to Nowra Toastmasters was at Bomaderry, and I was the Area 30 director at the time. And there were 6 clubs. There was Nowra, there was Kiama, there was South Coast Gourmet, there was Dapto, and there was Illawarra. Yes. And I don't know what I did to the area, but after I finished my 12 months, they broke it up. And it was 4 clubs, I think. So then I went to Area 3, and there were 6 clubs there. And the year after that, they broke it up. I don't know what I did, but anyway, I have enjoyed every time I've come down to Nowra Toastmasters. And I thank you all for inviting me today, and I thank you for inviting me in the past, and I will be back in the future. And thank you, and congratulations.
So we are almost at the end of our meeting this evening. It has been a lot of fun. I hope you've all enjoyed it. There are a couple of things I need to say before we head out. There have been some really busy bees behind the scenes. Kylie gets a special vote of thanks. She has been working really hard. She made those beautiful cakes. She organised these fabulous agendas that are a little bit of a keepsake for you to take home and put away. She has done so much in the background. We also have had all of our executives. Kim has been busy taking photos. Connie's busy over there recording everything that's being said. So I'll keep it short. Look, you know, we've got a great group of people, and into the future, Nowra has got a strong foundation, and we really, as a president, I really want to see it built up with more people. So that's what I'd like to see us all working together on this year, is getting more than the 12 we have, pushing up the amount of people in our clubs, and that's what your committee is going to work towards. I'd like to thank also, especially Wolfgang and Holly, coming out on a cold night, coming to join us, because you are elder members. You know, you guys have been around for a lot longer than, well, Rosemary.
14 years.
14? You've been longer, haven't you, Rosemary?
I actually signed Wolfgang up. So,
well done. What a great memory you signed up. And of course, you're always welcome to come back. We'll look forward to seeing you.
Thank you very much.
enjoyed every
Always
time.
enjoyed.
Louise, you've had a very long journey down here. We really appreciate coming all that way from Wollongong, the longest
Yes.
distance. Thank you.